What's up everyone and welcome to a new video. It's a new day and we have new Resident Evil Village information. This time it's a lot of screenshots and a lot of art out of the latest Game Informer magazine. To kick it off, we're seeing a brand new enemy type over here in this first screenshot. And David, what can we tell about this screenshot?
Yes, it's quite interesting what Game Informer put in the caption underneath the screenshot in the magazine. They are kind of saying that we've seen a lot of the village and the medieval castle in screens and gameplay so far, but we haven't seen anything outside of those areas yet. Of course, we've seen a little sneak peek of a factory, but they're kind of like hinting towards that this enemy will probably be outside of these parts we've seen already. And yeah, it looks like a pumped up version of one of the werewolf enemies we've seen.
Yeah, it looks like a further evolved werewolf, so eventually it looks like a much more advanced being than those werewolves. You can also see it still has some remnants of clothing on his body over here. So that is an interesting enemy type. It has a lot longer hair, which means it has probably been in this state for a lot longer. And his eyes have also turned red.
And of course we also seen this metal pin sticking out and through his body, and it almost even looks kind of red-like to me.
It definitely looks like a more advanced enemy to me. An enemy that is more prone to the wildlife, more used to the wildlife. Then speaking about wildlife, what do we see here, David? It's my favorite type of animal.
Yeah, this is also a new enemy type. Well, actually, it's really interesting what they put in the article about these chickens. They're confirming that for the first time ever in a Resident Evil game, we're gonna be able to hunt wildlife, chickens, pigs, fish, and a scattering of other critters. They put these animals in to make the world feel more alive and active, but you can also use their meat to get some upgrades at the shopkeeper, and he will cook something for you which gives you upgrades for your health, for your strength, your defense, or even your overall movement speed.
I'm very curious what the Duke will cook up with these animals that he receives from Ethan. Actually, this isn't the first time that this is, the hunting, real hunting, is probably the first time that it is in a Resident Evil game. But if you remember, in Resident Evil 4, you were able as Leon to kill chickens as well. And some of them even dropped, if you were lucky, a golden egg. So I think it's cool to see some wildlife appearing back into the games. There's definitely also a couple of other animals, of course, that we've already seen in the trailer, such as these ravens, but I'm unsure if you can eat those as well. I would rather not, I would say.
They also put in some new screenshots or art from loot that enemies leave and that you can find in the houses. These you can also bring to the Duke and get some upgrades or other stuff.
Yeah, definitely, like medicine, for example, and indeed upgrades for your weapon. David, it looks like this time treasure is also a big part of the game. So if you remember in Resident Evil 4, but also in Resident Evil 5, treasure collecting was a very big part of the game. And it looks like that really will return in the form of, for example, these bags of money. So we know the currency is lei. It's actually a Eastern European currency being used in Eastern Europe. And you can really collect, looks like you can collect these bags. Enemies will probably drop them, and then you can also find other types of treasure, because we've actually seen in some gameplay footage that was already released that you can collect treasures, for example, like a crystal skull that you can probably then sell to the Duke, and the Duke will be happy to buy it from you and then upgrade your weapons, of course. So looks very interesting to me. And here we have another screenshot of this money just lying around. Again, it's just a render, so not very interesting to look even further into it. Although I do see this interesting cool wolf on these coins as well. So it's definitely an awesome currency to collect.
We've got another awesome piece of concept art, and we're seeing here 3 different kind of werewolf type enemies. I think we've seen the left from the first one in some gameplay footage. It's actually really cool that they're all carrying some kind of weapon with them.
They are really looking savage. They are really looking like they came out of the Stone Age, like they're reverting back to their savageness, because they make these blunt weapons. They devise these blunt weapons, so just a stick with a pointy pointy stone on it. And then this one has created a spear. And the most exciting thing to me is that it looks like we can now expect, David, we can expect enemies riding on horses, werewolves riding on horses. How cool is that?
Yeah, that would be really, really awesome. I'm kind of skeptical that they're actually gonna put this concept art in the game, but if they would, it would make for some really crazy scenes.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine seeing these riders for the first time and then being extremely scared as Ethan, because you simply don't know how to deal with only a couple of werewolves individually without horses, and then suddenly you have them all also riding on horseback. So I can't wait to see what kind of combat that will be.
Yes, and they put Game Informer put another interesting piece in their article. They actually confirmed that Ethan can climb the roofs of buildings, so you'll be able to escape or engage these enemies in different kind of ways. And you can even push off some of the enemies from these roofs. So really looking forward to that.
And then moving on, this is a very strange screenshot, right, David? I don't really know what we can say about this, other than this is in the Valley of the Kings that we have seen before on the Resident Evil Village map that has already been revealed. We know that this is the Valley of the Kings because, of course, we can see them sitting over here. And other than that, it's indeed a little bit strange because we can see some medicine lying around. And if you remember, Ethan in Resident Evil 7 was constantly healing himself with these medicine bottles over here. And I'm not really sure why they're all lying around here. And I'm not even sure what this is.
Yeah, to me it looks like some sort of big pile of poop. But actually, there's something on top of it. We can't clearly see it, but my guess it's some kind of baby that's lying on top of this pile.
Yes, it's definitely a mystery, I would say that. And Ethan also looks kind of bewildered by what he is seeing over there. So definitely interesting to look forward to into the final game. And then moving on, we have a couple of other pieces of art that were revealed in the magazine. And this is very clearly conceptual artwork for the game. So the eventual village, of course, that we are seeing in the game doesn't really look like what we're seeing on this screenshot. That is partly because Castle Dimitrescu is actually on top of this mountain, while in the real game, of course, it is adjacent to the village, so it's somewhere else. And this looks more like like a ski town from Germany or Switzerland, doesn't it, David?
It definitely does.
And then moving on, we can see, of course, here a piece of art where we see the villagers sitting around. So it's nice to see also that there are still some normal people in the village. And Ethan will definitely meet up with these people and then interact with them. And other than that, we cannot say a lot about it, other than that it's an awesome piece of art. And then finally, I thought this piece of art was also interesting, David, because not only can we see here more livestock, but we can also see, I don't know, is that a dead horse?
It definitely looks like something was slaughtered there, but I can't say for sure that if it's a horse.
Yeah, it's not very clear. It definitely looks like the grandfather or the older man over here is definitely prepared to defend himself from the invading werewolves in the village. So maybe you will meet him along the way. And here we have another render of Ethan standing epically behind the sun going down. And in his hand, he is holding this big fat gun. And we thought before that this was a Magnum. But one of our commenters, Andre, he was able to point out that this is actually a Colt 1851 cartridge conversion with groove cylinder, shortened loading lever, deep black trim and pearl ivory grips, which appears as a miniature in the collector's edition version of the game. So thank you very much, Andre, for pointing that out. That is indeed a different gun and not the Magnum, and definitely not the broken butterflies. And we really appreciated that you provided us with that insight. And with that said, we really appreciate that everybody is commenting below our videos. Thank you very much. Also subscribe to our channel, give this video a big fat like, and watch out for the Resident Evil Showcase stream tomorrow. And with that said, I would like to thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.